We talk a lot about resilience in hospitality, but most people get it wrong. They think resilience means pushing harder, taking the hits and getting back up, forcing yourself to keep going no matter how heavy it gets. But that's not resilience, that's endurance. And endurance without recovery always ends the same way, in burnout, exhaustion, and disconnection. Real resilience isn't about pushing through, it's about realigning your energy every single day. It's the quiet art of knowing when to pause, when to breathe, and when to come back to yourself before you break. That's what I've learned the hard way, and in this final episode of Series 3, I want to show you what it looks like, how to build emotional resilience for the long game. Not just to survive hospitality, but to actually live well within it. Welcome to the Lead World channel, where we explore the inner world of leadership, well-being, and what it means to build a business that doesn't break you. Hi, my name's Trevor. I run a multi-award-winning restaurant and cocktail bar, and I coach other hospitality leaders who want to create balance and build businesses that support their lives, not consume them. But it took me a long time to learn how to do that myself. There was a time when I thought resilience meant toughness, that being a good leader meant outlasting everyone else, that the only way through stress was to push harder until it stopped hurting. And what I learned is that the pain doesn't stop just because you ignore it. It builds, it festers, it shows up in other ways, in your body, in your relationships, in your sleep, your mood, and your ability to lead. For years, I carried that weight until it crushed me, until I couldn't separate myself from the business anymore, until every quiet moment felt like a confrontation with my own mind. The panic attacks, the anxiety, the constant guilt for not being able to switch off. That's when I started rebuilding, slowly and quietly, one step at a time. Everything I've shared in this series, from the crisis recovery plan to the overthinking trap, from passion blocks to reset rituals, they all came from that journey. They weren't strategies that I made up in theory, they were things that saved me in practice. And today I want to bring them all together to show you how to build an emotional resilience that lasts, not through sheer willpower, but through rhythm, structure, and daily realignment. In this final episode, we're going to weave together the core tools of emotional resilience: your identity anchors, your thought diary, your passion blocks, and your reset rituals. Each one plays a different role, but together they form a structure, a framework that allows you to bend without breaking. Because resilience isn't a personality trait, it's actually a practice. And if you get that practice right, you can navigate almost anything. If you followed this series and started to notice where your own balance is slipping, where you're running on empty or reacting more than responding, the next step is awareness. And that's exactly what my business and wellness quiz is designed for. It helps you see which parts of your life and business need the most support, whether it's time, energy, structure, or mindset. You can take it for free, the link's below. You carry a lot, and you deserve the tools and the support to carry it well. Section 1, redefining resilience. Resilience isn't about powering through, it's about learning to realign. The strongest people I know in hospitality and in life aren't the ones who never fall apart. They're the ones who know how to put themselves back together. When people talk about bouncing back, they make it sound instant, like resilience is something you're either born with or you're not. But real resilience isn't built in the bounce, it's built in the recovery. It's the slow, intentional act of noticing when you're slipping, taking stock, and choosing a different response. That's what separates sustainable leadership from slow collapse. Section 2, identity anchors. Who you are beyond work. In episode 1, we talked about separating yourself from the business, about remembering that you're not just your restaurant, your bar, or your brand. And I know how hard that is because I used to be the worst for it. When your name, your reputation, your energy, and your entire livelihood are tied up in one thing, it's easy to believe that you and it are the same. But you're not. You're the leader behind the business, the human that makes it possible. And protecting that person is the most important thing that you'll ever do. One of the tools I use for this is what I call the identity anchor. It's something that reminds you who you are outside of work. It can be a hobby, an activity, or even a sentence. That's where the I'm someone who exercise comes in. When I first started doing it, I couldn't finish the sentence. All I could write were versions of the job. I'm someone who runs a business. I'm someone who manages people. I'm someone who solves problems. But over time, as I started to rebuild myself, the sentences began to change. I'm someone who paints the models that I print. I'm someone who walks the dog with my wife. I'm someone who cooks for the people that I love. Those words became anchors. They reminded me that there's more to me than just the business. And that's the first building block of resilience. Remembering who you are when everything else feels unstable. Section 3, the thought diary. Breaking the overthinking loop. In episode 3, we talked about the overthinking trap, that endless spiral of what ifs that keeps you up at night. I used to live there. Every quiet moment became a meeting in my own head. I'd replay conversations, dissect decisions, and plan for disasters that hadn't even happened yet. And it wasn't just mental noise, it was physical exhaustion. The breakthrough came when I started using what I now call the anxiety catcher, a structured thought diary that helps you pull the worries from your head and onto paper. And the moment you write something down, your brain stops treating it like an emergency. It recognizes that it's been handled, captured, and externalized. And when you do that constantly, you stop drowning in your own thoughts. You start creating mental space for clarity. And that's what the thought diary is, a release valve for your mind. It's not about solving everything instantly, it's about giving your brain permission to rest. Because resilience begins with clarity. You can't be emotional steady if your mind is full of noise. Section 4, passion blocks, the joy that refuels you. In episode 5, we talked about something that sounds simple but changes everything. Passion blocks. These are blocks of time that belong only to you. Not the business, not your inbox, not your to-do list. They're moments to do something that brings you joy, something that reminds you that life exists outside of work. When you're running a hospitality business, time never really feels like your own. But here's the truth, if you don't schedule joy, stress will just schedule itself. For me, that joy came from 3D printing and painting, something I started doing when I was at my lowest. At first, it was just a distraction, but soon it became like therapy. I'd sit for hours printing, sanding, painting, and for the first time in months, my brain was quiet. Those small creative sessions gave me some perspective. They made me realize that I didn't need to be working 24/7 to keep things afloat. The world wouldn't end if I took time for myself. In fact, the opposite happened. I came back calmer, clearer, and more creative. I was a better leader because I was a happier human. And that's what passion blocks do. They remind you of what it feels like to be alive. And in a world where work never stops, joy becomes your most powerful form of resistance. Section 5, reset rituals. Daily micro recovery. In episode 6, we looked at the emotional reset rituals, the small repeatable moments that bring you back to baseline when things get too heavy. For me, that journey started the day a friend of mine sent me a video of guided breathwork. I was skeptical, but desperate enough to try, and it changed everything for me. It showed me that you don't have to wait until a crisis to calm your nervous system. You can build calm into your day. So my morning routine now looks like this. I get up, I feed the dog, I make a coffee, I sit on my office sofa, this one behind me, and I do 15 to 35 minutes of breath work and meditation, and then I plan my day. That hour doesn't make me perfect, but it makes it so more peaceful, and that peace sets the tone for everything else. Reset rituals are micro recoveries. They're 5-minute pauses that prevent 5-day breakdowns. They keep you grounded through the chaos so that you can lead from calm instead of crisis. And when you pair them with tools like the Crisis Recovery Plan or the Reset Rituals template, you give yourself a process of reflection, a way to translate emotion into action, panic into perspective. And that's resilience in real time. Section 6, the system that holds it all together. Each of these tools play a part. Identity anchors remind you of who you are. The thought diary clear the mental clutter. Passion blocks refuels your energy. Reset rituals regulate your emotions, and together they form this self-sustaining system, one that doesn't rely on perfect days, but helps you recover from imperfect ones. And that's what emotional resilience really is. It's a rhythm. It's a cycle that you return to over and over again. When life knocks you off balance, you don't need to start over. You just need to return to the rhythm. You breathe, you write, you rest, you reconnect. And you keep moving forward one grounded step at a time. Section 7, the Lead Well connection. All of this lives inside my Lead Well framework, the foundation that's guided my recovery and now underpins my coaching and consultancy. L is look inward, so you notice your inner world before it turns into external chaos. E is establish rhythm, build structure and consistency into your days. A, align your energy, learn what drains you and what restores you. And D, direct your clarity, so you lead your team and your business from balance, not burnout. Every pillar supports the next, and when they work together, they create something stronger than motivation. They create momentum. And that's how you build emotional resilience for the long game, not by avoiding hardship, but by having the tools to navigate it with grace. So let's bring this together. Over the course of this series, we've talked about how to separate yourself from your business, how to stop carrying everything alone, how to break the cycle of overthinking, how to recover from crisis with clarity, how to protect your passion and rediscover your joy, and how to reset emotionally when life feels too heavy. Each of those pieces build the same outcome, resilience. Not just the type that makes you harder, but the kind that makes you softer, steadier, and more in tune with yourself. Resilience isn't about being unbreakable, it's about being flexible. It's about knowing that even when life bends you, you have the structure and the awareness to find your way back. That's what emotional resilience looks like in real life. Not perfection, but practice. When I think back to who I was before all of this, it feels like a lifetime ago. I was constantly chasing success, convinced that if I just worked harder, things would finally get easier. But the truth is, the harder I pushed, the further I drifted from myself. And now I still face stress, I still have hard days, but I meet them differently. I meet them with awareness, with rhythm, and with compassion. I'm not fixed, far from it, but I am much more freer. And that's what I want for you, because you're not your business. You are the leader behind it. And that person matters much more than anything else that you build. Protect that person, nurture that person, lead that person first, because when you do, the business will follow. Those small daily changes changed everything for me. And combined with the Lead Well framework, they pulled me out of my darkest chapter of my life and reminded me what it felt like to enjoy living again. And I want that for you. Whatever you're going through, whatever feels unreachable or impossible, I promise you it isn't. It's not easy and it won't happen overnight. It takes a million tiny steps, 1,000 quiet decisions, and hundreds of moments where you choose yourself, even when it feels selfish to do so. But it only takes one moment to begin. One single decision to say, I'm ready to do this differently. And with the right tools, the right rhythm, and the right support beside you, you can do it. You can lead well, you can live well, and you can find peace again. It is possible and it is worth it. I promise you that. And if you want any or all of the documents that I talk about in this series or this video, just put the word help in the comments and I'll message you and you can have them all. They're all completely free. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like and a subscribe. It helps me, it helps the channel, and it helps people like us find the content that really matters. As always, I'd love to remind you that you matter too. Don't forget that.